Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam. Pranam.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Vanakkam, vanakkam. Namaskaram. Anybody would like to say anything? The in-depth study of Inquest of God never stops. It is an ongoing exercise. Every time we feel, we have covered, lost, no. While explaining about equanimity, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that means to remain balanced at all times. That is union with God. Normally, we have so many concepts about God. But here, in a very plain manner, he says that when we are in a position to keep up equanimity in all circumstances, we are expressing God. So Swami Ranganathan Ji in his commentary says, when you deny this little I, the large I begins to manifest. When the little I is there, we will not be able to have equanimity. When the large I is there, we will be able to develop it. In Ramakrishna's words, the unripe I goes and the ripe I manifest. I is there. The sense of individuality will continue to be there. So how to raise our consciousness level? That means if we are dealing with the same level, my body, my mind, my intellect, my knowledge, my expertise, my skill, my preferences, my priorities, my name, my fame, everything, all put together is this me and mine. When I deal with men and matters from that level, it is we will not be able to keep up this equanimity. So if we just go through In Quest of God, when he started from the Srirangam, his experience, when the two devotees were singing, and when they were saying, hunger is pinching, how are we to procure food? Since morning we have been singing the glory, and he has given us only this much, 9 pies. Immediately, if Papa had answered from the same level, he would have said, don't have any grumbling, what is there? You must go and work. Papa did not do that. He immediately rose himself to a higher level. And no, young brothers, no value can be set upon your bhajan. God is always kind and loving. He never forsakes those who depend upon him. Just think, how will we react from our plane? How does he react? In Rameshwaram, when he was asked to get down, how did he, from which level? Again from a little, not from the body, mind, intellect level. Because the body is going to be inconvenienced. 6 miles he has to walk. He can also join the grumbling and complaints. But he rose a little higher than that. Then he said, we cannot travel along to Rameshwaram by train. Pilgrimages should be made on foot. So how the equanimity is maintained? In Madurai, when somebody was touching, unknowingly, the sadhu, when Swami saw this, he said it is sacrilege. Immediately Papa said, no, he is also God. When he goes to Chidambaram, when he was denied, same equanimity, he did not grumble or complain. 25 foreigners were needed to get an entry, he was not having that. Journey to Tirupapuriyur, we all know that, no? 2 boys were commenting. Did he answer from the same level? He rose a little higher. Throughout, you see, the equanimity he has been able to keep up. Pondicherry and Tiruvannamalai, the 20 miles walking, 32 kilometers in the hot sun without chapel. And it was turned down and they were asked to go back, return immediately. Did he lose the balance? No. Just think like that. So what is the message for all of us? So the powerful message is that equanimity. If I am doing Ramnam, if I am worshipping Mahatmas, if I am doing bhajans, if I am doing sadhyai, if I have undertaken trips to pilgrim centers, all these things are okay, provided we are able to feel the balance inside. Equanimity, equanimity, equanimity. How to raise our consciousness level? After all, actions come from a particular level of consciousness. If it comes from another level, the action also will be different. A criminal has one action. His consciousness level is in a particular state. A very generous man also does action. His actions come from another consciousness level. And so the subject of raising consciousness level, bodha unnamana, is an attractive subject. So spirituality means raising ourselves from our present level to a higher level, no? Raising ourselves from our present level to a higher level. So through these episodes, barring some chapters, we find at no place, Papa lost the balance. He was able to maintain that equanimity. So his Nama chanting, all spiritual disciplines, self-denial, simple living habits, surrender, accepting every situation calmly, all these things helped him to remain in that state. We have been doing Ramnam. We have been doing so many other disciplines, Every day we are doing. But do we maintain that equanimity? Suddenly we flare up, we shout, we find fault with, we create a mess of things, unknowingly. Because we don't have that balance. Though we may be chanting Ramnam, no? You will say Ramnam session was wonderful. But ultimately the litmus test. Today morning, Dr. Vimalamma took us to the clinic to show us the new jade water with alkali. Then when we asked, how do you know that what is the pH content? Then she said, litmus. We show it, the litmus in the water, then it shows the pH content. Normally 7 for us. For acidity level, acidic level. So the alkaline goes and neutralizes to keep up the bodily balance. Otherwise you eat something, you take some medicine, acidity. You become restless. An imbalance is created in the mind, which will not remain there, which will affect all our thinking, our handling, our doing, everything. Similarly, we have to, this litmus test is whether we have been able to progress steadily in the spiritual path. How do we know? Litmus test is equanimity. Every experience throws the mind into a wave. Small wave, big wave. You have the power to control that wave formation. If you exercise that power, you are a free person. You are really using your higher cerebral system. If you don't, you become like a creature of circumstances. Somebody says you weep, you weep. Somebody says you smile, you smile. You have no freedom. That should not be. I shall smile when I want to, not because somebody dictates to me or nature dictates to me. That is called freedom. From freedom we come, in freedom we live, to freedom we return. And so freedom is what? Equanimity. So here the capacity to keep the mind in balance, when so many circumstances come to unbalance it, that is the real test of human greatness, human strength. So many examples are available in this connection, from the highest level of Buddha up to the ordinary levels of greatness in a society. We find many types of this achievement. But every step you take in that direction to show that you are free from external constraints is progress, real human progress. This is to be emphasized again and again. So in-depth study of In Quest of God, suppose you again go through all episodes with this background, it will become very, very clear to us that Papa has been able to maintain this balance throughout. You remember at one place when one sadhu was leading them and they got into great trouble in a muddy place. Everybody started finding fault with the leader. Papa did not leave him. Everywhere, suppose we go through the chapters again and again, of the 37 chapters, leaving a few chapters probably, wherever there is an episode, start applying and you will find this research, equanimity, no? That Ajmer, nowhere he has lost even in Tirupati. In one place when he was there, in a jungle where scorpions and reptiles are coming. Because of this equanimity, fearlessness comes out of equanimity. Maintain this equanimity. Our body language also should be in line with it. Suddenly get depressed, suddenly get elated, suddenly becoming, Ascharyam. Everything happens. Yes? Huh?
How can you manage suffering? How can you manage suffering?
How can we manage suffering?
We have to devise our own method, Can there be any advice? Can there be any advice from others? Because suffering, when I keep on physical suffering, I will take some medicine. I will accept that it is a disease. It has to be treated. If there is some other suffering, we have to devise ways and means to do it.
How Papa will manage suffering? How Papa will manage suffering?
How Papa will manage?
How Papa managed. Go through it again and again. You will find he was he was not only his surrender to God was total, he was also remembering him throughout. Okay, I have surrendered myself, and then I am carrying on with certain things. Suddenly I forgot about the surrender. I react from the ordinary level. No, in his case, it was a total surrender, sustaining surrender. We have not reached that stage. So it is difficult. So to the extent possible, we will try. So whenever we lose the balance, immediately we should try to pull back and keep the balance. Initially, outwardly we may not be reacting, but internally still the struggle will be there. We would have lost the balance. But now that he has made us known that no use, even if I have done it for 50 years of Ramnam, if I don't have that equanimity, I have not gained anything. The moment I come to know that, along with my Ramnam, I will also pray, enable me to keep up the same balance in all the trying situations you are making me to pass through. So far, we did not bring what ought to be taken along with Ramnam. That is why even a small thing we cannot compromise, we cannot go along with it. When it affects our person, think about it. These are all food for thought. There are no dictums here. It is like this, it is like that, nobody can say. But the moment when we start going through in quest of God with this aspect, suddenly, he made us to concentrate upon the Samatvam Yogam Uchate, and then suddenly we realized, is not this the same theme hammered, brought out repeatedly in many of the chapters in Quest of God? And when he got this serenity, now we can understand serenity comes out of this equanimity. Peace and serenity comes out of keeping up this balance. With this bhavana, again we try to go through many of the episodes. God blessed him with this, this balance. Freedom. So all intellectual growth, creative growth, spiritual growth need this prior stabilization of the human psychic system. Samatva, calmness.
Swamiji?
Yes?
I am used to reacting.
I am used
Till now.
Reacting.
Till I was spiritually immature.
Spiritually?
Immature.
Suddenly I cannot achieve this balance.
Nobody will be able to.
I still react.
No, we can react. Without losing the balance, if you can react.
I still react.
You can react. Nobody says you should not react. But keeping the balance. When we are jumping, when we are walking brisk, we are walking. There is an activity. But at the same time, we will not fall. Because somewhere the center of gravity is always ensured by us. We don't lose the balance. Outwardly, the activities are there. But we don't lose the balance. We don't fall. Similarly, while reacting, suppose we have this. Nothing wrong. During the past moments, these are all the things which we are trying to now, masticate, again and again and again, so that slowly, tendency to hold the balance in trying moments will come to us slowly, gradually. We may fail, but immediately we remember, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have reacted in that way. Suppose somebody is, hot-tempered, immediately we will say, okay, sit down, have a cup of water. No, you don't have to teach me what. Somebody may say that. What I should take, what I should not. It's all right, man, you take water. No? You can react. But you will be passive. You will not be Rajasic. You will be Sattvic. So many experiences parade before us, no? Even during our days in companies and estate management, everywhere. Many people, yes. They have all taught us, when we keenly observe, that they don't lose the balance. When we lose the balance, they don't lose the balance. And then they make us to think. And then we get a grip slowly. But this is a thing which we have to keep on, hammering into our brain. Real progress in spirituality expresses in the form of maintaining equanimity. Yoga. The inner balancing is what is meant by the two great words, Sama and Dhamma. Sama is the discipline of the mind, Dhamma is the discipline of the senses. 5 sense organs, they will run after the sense objects. Some control. Mind is also to be controlled. When Sama and Dhamma operate in me, then the Samatva becomes well established. Sama and Dhamma are highly significant words in our spiritual traditions. This calmness, this Samatvam, becomes a natural state by constant practice of these two virtues. So that means it cannot come like that. There should be some conscious effort on my part to control the sense organs. First test. Every organ, sense organ, has its own field. Those objects will definitely enslave us. Even if we don't physically take part, suppose you are observing Ekadashi, suppose a thing, which you like most comes. You may not take it, but at the same time, you only know whether the craving is there. So we cannot even say that just because the abstinence of doing it is an indication that I have got to control. No. What is to be seen, what is to be heard, what is to be tasted, what is to be seen, what is to be smelt, what is to be touched. This control. Gandhiji says that if you have control over the tongue, you have crossed half the distance, which is the toughest thing for all of us. So where should we begin? That is how in good old days all these Ekadashi, Vratam, everything was, Somewhere, something by which, the tongue is taught how far it can go. So we were talking about balance. The balance can be maintained This calmness, samatvam, becomes a natural state by constant practice of these two virtues. This is yoga in its early stages. And one great lesson is that the calm, steady person is that the calm and steady person who turns out the largest quantum of work, not the excited, unsteady type of people. They may make noise, but their work will be very poor. This is what everyone has to learn. This is the great teaching of Sri Krishna. Do work, but the consciousness level from which your work proceeds must be of that nature, stable, steady. But the conscious level from which your work proceeds must be of that nature. That is called Buddhi Yoga, Yoga Buddhi. Buddhi established in yoga. That state is the best source from which all actions can come. They will always be good, good for oneself, good for all. And therefore these two virtues, Sama and Dhamma, are highly praised in our literature. Great workers, great world movers, unless they had that samatvam within, could not have summoned the tremendous energy to make the world move in that particular direction. And so for all of us, as much as we can, even one step ahead is good for us, for making our life efficient. And this yoga is going to be defined later as efficiency in life and work. Yoga Karma Sukhaushalam. That is why somebody said, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is the manual of life. It is addressed to the man on the field, not to an ascetic, not to a person who sits in the cave. It is addressed to the man on the field. So how to, in this stanza itself, yogastha kurkarmani, steadfast in yoga, perform actions. So action we have to perform, but be established in this. What is yoga? Samatvam. Samatvam yoga muchate. When the two boys mocked at him, so samatva can be, we don't know whether that's right, but we feel samatva, to what some extent we can understand, is to raise ourselves from our present level and then watch, observe. With this bhavana, we go through the in quest of God. Wherever we go, we will find that, Tirupati, God is everywhere. Because you can speak English, educated as you are, you cannot travel without a ticket. I have asked you to go to get out. It's all Ram's will. Then that kind policeman, Jagannathapuri, Christ the messenger of God, Calcutta, Dakshineshwar, they were asked to go, that is Kali's affair, none of ours to think of at present. And that room where, and the sadhu who ate 32, how many, so many puris, 34 puris. Kashi, the Jatadari. Love conquers hate. Jhansi. Chidambaram. And Jhansi, you remember, he was called, Mahadev called him. Even at that time, he was not elated. He was not only he was in rags, He had soul and legs. Meditation the only way. Ram the friend of the poor. God never punishes. Somebody talked, cross the limit. At parting, he assured the friend that he loved him most dearly in spite of any objectionable words used by him. How does it possible? No? Samatvam. Himalayan journey. Suppose we make one more attempt like this, we will find samatvam everywhere. Raipur. Oh Ram, how kind of you. You make your humble slave pass through every kind. As he had nothing to spread, he lay himself down on the bare ground. When his nose came in close proximity with the ground, he felt strong smell of urine. Ajmer, when he was asked to part with the deer skin. Money is the root of all evils. The Seth, lost the balance. He did not lose the balance. Junagadh. Muchukund Rishi's ashram. So now again, suppose we make an attempt, we will find that along with whatever he has taught us, he is also teaching us now. All our spiritual discipline should zero to this. Samatvam. From the world outside, somebody says to you that you are a fool and you become wretched and depressed. That man who called you a fool is dead and gone. But you are living a depressed life because somebody said you are a fool. This is what an American writer said. To put your mind in somebody else's pocket is the most unfortunate thing you can do. So learn to put it in your own pocket. I shall determine how I react to any situation. That can come only when the mind has the balance. If the lake is calm, that means lake of the mind, then it will form wonderful ripple patterns in the inner life of human beings. Similarly, spiritual development cannot be formed in a state which has not been calmed and made even. That is why if you want to become great as a person, you have to achieve all this by handling your mind. The first thing you have to do is to handle your mind. We rarely handle our minds. We handle tools, but the biggest tool is the mind itself. We never handle it. We go along with it. We let it go in its own way. So the Gita is going to give us that teaching. Handle the tools, but handle the mind also. The tool of all mind, the tool of all tools is the mind. Then something great will happen to you. Swami Ranganathanji could not contain, when he was explaining about this. For one chapter he has got pages and pages and pages. Because it is such a beautiful theme. Krishna gives them, in a platter, the quintessence of entire spirituality in the workable field. But it is not restricted to any particular activity. Any activity. At least we will now try to limit it to some selective activities. So this chapter, those who are having the Bhagavad Gita in the shelf, kindly take it out. Go to the second chapter, 48th and it gives this Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyau Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Muchyate. Being steadfast in yoga, O Arjuna, perform actions, abandoning attachment, remaining unconcerned as regards success and failure. This evenness of mind is known as yoga. Yoga means union with God. So this evenness of mind is known as union with God. This is the great lesson Papa teaches us through various episodes in Quest of God. Giving us this clue, check up. Every situation is a litmus test for you. Whether I lose the balance or whether I retain the balance. Inside, outside you may have to, but inside always the same, So how to maintain this inner balance when we are forced to involve ourselves in various activities? Each one has to try. And we feel, everyone must have been blessed with a lot of such experiences. Now when we go through it again and again, we will know where we lost the balance, where he helped us to maintain the balance. So from today onwards, when we chant Ram Nam, we will add this dimension also. Let it not be limited to my Ram Nam chanting period. Kindly enable me to keep up the same balance because everything is happening only by your will. I don't have to blame anybody else. I know now, intellectually I know. I don't have to blame the individual, I don't have to blame the object, I don't have to blame the situation. But when it comes to the practical life, I forget this. And from my level, I start doing it. I am unable to raise myself to a little higher level. And now I know that is why I have not been able to keep up the balance. So today you have made me known, enable me to keep it up, please. So this prayer also will go along with our Ram Nam. Anything else?
Swamiji, can the confidence that is given by Papa again, can it be called as an impersonal aspect of Papa?
Can it be called as impersonal aspect of Papa, the confidence given by him?
Sure.
Because Swamiji,
he is giving
many
us.
cases, Papa has written, the cold was very severe. Ram's love was equally great. The next sentence says, Ram's love was equally great. So I was thinking, like those on the roadside when they are shivering, yet they are fine, they are continuing with life as it is.
Yeah.
So God gives us the forbearance also, the power to go through all this.
Yes. Prior to coming to this ashram on a full-time basis, we were staying in a small place, absolutely alone. It is in the midst of tea estates. So every day morning at about 7:10, all the workers will be passing through our gate, before us. Each one will be carrying, apart from their leaf picking sack, one bag, one flask, so many things, because 4 o'clock they have to get up in the morning. No electricity, mind you, no gas, so they have to prepare food with firewood and open oven. And they have to see that the children are given not only breakfast but also for their lunch, for their husband, and for them also they take. And all these things are to be over by 7:10, 7 o'clock. And then for 7:30 they have to reach the place for the roll call. We used to think probably Sundays or holidays they will be enjoying. So when on a holiday, when we were talking to the people, oh, today you are free. Ayyo, boran Swami. They said it is boring. We were thinking that they are passing through trying moments. When you say about forbearance, when you say about equanimity, God has given them that without any grumbling, any complaint. They are perfectly comfortable with that. So when they are given a little freedom for 2 or 3 days at least, they will say, boring. So that means this hectic life, God gave them the hectic life, but also gave them, they did not attend any lectures. They did not go through any so-called labeled spiritual discipline. And one more thing, there is a temple nearby. So when there is any temple program or something, after their work, they go home, have their bath, prepare everything for the night, then they come there. By 7 o'clock, everybody will be at the temple, all neat. Nobody will say that they are wage earners, with cheerful, pleasant faces. We used to wonder, to us, these are all hectic life, busy life. How are they in a position to maintain? But it becomes natural for them. So then we remember it is not to be cultivated, but at the same time we have to pray, we have to pray. Transforming all our so-called hectic, busy schedule to a joyful life, joyful routine. At 4:30, the working hours will be over and they have to rush up. Suppose our coffee is spread on after picking, it has to be there on the barbecue, drying yard for 14 days, 15 days, so that the seed gets separated from the husk. Suppose it is the 12th day, there is a cloud, and indications are that it may rain. Then that indication you get at 4:15. 4:30, all these people will go. What will we do? It is difficult for us to ask them to remain. Because we know, heart of heart, they have to go, they have to collect the firewood, they have to wash, they have to take the bath, they have to clean the vessels, they have to cook. But we don't have to say anything, Those people looking at the sky, they will immediately put all their bags, rush up to the drying yard, heap it, and then cover it, and then only they will go. Touching scenes, Touching scenes. Yogastha Kuru Karmani. When we read that, we remember all these things. Rooted in this, all actions are there. So God is He made us to observe all these things, Even today, after a lapse of 30 years, I am remembering. Because it is something which cannot be erased from our mind. God is proving before us. This is yoga, man. This is the spirituality in workaday life. Our sincerity, our loyalty, our care and concern for the institution. And when Papa says in this, the first article, it is not theory. These are all, we can see it. By humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism, our self-assertion as a separate individual, having reached this stage, we, by the awakened consciousness of unity, are naturally prompted to sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures. Those workers were teaching these, what Papa has written here. So spirituality, do you think that spirituality means, going through this? No. With simple life, it is demonstrated. And He gives us an opportunity to keenly observe. And many times we used to say, okay, now you go, we will do the rest. You have done this much, that is a good thing. Unless we compel them, they will not go. Especially this December, January, by 6 o'clock it will be dark, 6:30. So they have to collect this firewood from the forest nearby every day. And then do the cooking. Then go to the nearest stream where they have their bath, they clean the vessels, and they wash the clothes. We were in that place for more than 25 years. Nobody came forward and started grumbling or complaining any of these things. Big lesson. Even now last year when we went to Wayanad, we went there. All of them came to see. It was a joyful thing to see them all. Because they taught us so many things. What is spirituality in workaday life? So when Papa talks about equanimity, we don't have to search for the dictionary meaning. We have to just go back to our own life. God has paraded before us such wonderful, enlivening experiences. Draw from that. On that day, probably we would not have drawn the inspiration. Now, draw the inspiration from them. It is possible for anybody and everybody. Maybe I would not have been able to keep it up. But from today onwards, I will make it a point to try, honestly try. Equanimity, balance of the mind. Anything else?
Swamiji, when you were in your solitude, you were around this coffee plantation, you were never tempted to go back to that kind of a work life?
We were working also, We were working. It was going along with it. Work never got stopped in our life. Somehow God willed. People say you take rest. It is rusting, not resting. Because there is a joy in it, no? Not only in doing but also in observing. He blessed us with such a wonderful set of people with whom we work, even today. Even in ashram we find that joy. How things go on, we used to wonder. Whenever every day morning when we go and see somebody is doing, somebody is doing, see how they are prompted to do it. The belongingness is there, for everybody. So, everybody tries to do whatever is possible. So there may be some little bit of bickering here and there, but on the overall, when you see that everything goes on beautifully. So the work is going on joyously everywhere. And Papa Mataji's style of running this ashram in such a way that with a low profile, it is reaching out to a wider dimension. So work is there. Work need not be abandoned. Yogastha kuru karmani, Sangam tyaktva. The only thing is they said, be a little detached, self-interest. So in that case, siddhya siddhyu, good or bad, samo bhutva, we will be able to maintain. And that evenness is called yoga. That is the text today. So yogastha kuru karmani. Whatever actions we do, it should be established in this yoga. In our language, we can say value-based activities. Yogastha kuru karmani means value-based activities. Puja Swamiji used to say in early 2000s, when we were trying to do whatever possible. Whenever we go there, he says, I am the only man, I don't have any work. Swamiji, you have worked from 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock every day for how many years? No, why don't you? No. Then only, nowadays when the people talk to us, we understand what Swamiji felt. Then Swamiji will not keep quiet. He takes all the old albums, all clean it, label it, documents, clean it, label it. எனக்கு மாத்திரம் ஒரு வேலையும் இல்லை. That's what he will say. Yogastha kuru karmani. What a priceless treasure is Bhagavad Gita, And when you integrate it with the life, then only the joy is there. Otherwise it is academic, literal knowledge. Academic knowledge will be there. You can quote this one. But when you integrate it with our workaday life, with one's own workaday life, this is that. God made you to observe, God made you to involve. And at that time this theory would not have come. But later on when the theory is taught, it is easy for us to immediately stitch it together, integrate it. And then the joy becomes double. And a person who is giving that samatvam, he exercises a lot of influence on others. So let us all pray to him. To bless us with this attitude as much as possible. Wherever it is possible, we will try to. Even Lord Krishna also said, whatever is possible. he clearly says, great workers, great world, unless they had some. And so for all of us, as much as we can, even one step ahead is good for us, for making our life efficient. So all of us are involved with this attitude, but now we get one more, what you call push. Without losing our balance. This is a great, great lesson today Papa is bringing to our attention. Let us all pray from the bottom of the heart to bless us with this samatva as much as possible. And even if I am likely to lose it, please pull me up. When I have lost it, make me not to repeat it again. Let the prayer go on this stream. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Pranam. Hari Om.